Hi, Marguerite Maitland here, and I wanted to share a quick excerpt of my book, Runaway at Sea. It's the first of two in the series about my great-great-grandfather Robert and his very adventurous life. So here we go. Go, I'll be right behind you, Michael urged. Robert sprinted to the edge of the dock, dropping to his knees as he reached for the anchor chain. A sharp pain shot through his ribs, and he winced. The beating at the hands of his oldest brother was still fresh in his mind, and he cursed Thomas for it. The sunrise was not far off, and Robert knew he had to hasten his climb. He took a firm hold of the chain and glanced back, barely able to make out the shape of Michael's head peeking from behind the wooden crate yards away. If he fell into the water, Michael wouldn't be able to save him. He'd be done for. The cold sliminess of the metal leached into his skin. For a moment, Robert watched the small ripples of water lap against the ship. Don't fall, he thought, as he wrapped his arms and legs around the chain and hung upside down. Sweat dripped from his neck and slid down his back like small drops of rain. Dear Lord, protect me, he prayed, and forced himself to move. The sound of the water slapping against the ship, the squeak of the chain under his hands, and the cries of the gulls filled his ears. It was so deafening, he had to fight to keep his concentration. Hand over hand, one slide of his leg and then the other. He edged closer, every inch more difficult than the one before. He hung his head back just enough to see the side of the ship and kept his eyes on the wooden planks of the hull. The clatter swelled, and he wanted to scream for it to stop. Am I the only one who hears this relentless racket? He muttered. Finally, he reached the house hole, his arms and legs burning hot with fatigue. It was just inches away. I have to. He stretched his right arm out and grabbed the edge, while at the same time scrunching his knees to his chin. In one desperate motion, he moved his hands together and pushed off with his legs, trying to propel himself through the opening, but his knees hit the ship, and now he dangled precariously. Robert struggled to hold his feet flat against the damp surface, terrified of falling. With every ounce of will, he scrambled up the side of the ship and slid through the hole. It was like falling into a chasm as he plummeted through the air, and it seemed an eternity before he hit the floor, landing hard on his back. Gasping for air, it took a moment to catch his breath. The room was dark, except for the eerie glow of the moon through the porthole. He was suddenly aware of a growing chant of animals, and then their foul stench hit his nose. It was so pungent, Robert could taste it in his throat when he swallowed. He sat up against the closest wall, scarcely able to believe he succeeded. Robert knew he couldn't waste time sitting there. He had to signal Michael, but realized he was too short to reach the house hall. He got up and started investigating the objects nearby, stumbling around the darkness until he found a tall box and dragged it across the floor. He clambered up and waved furiously to Michael, who sprinted to the edge of the dock. In much the same way, Michael crept along and reached the end of the chain. When Robert leaned out to haul Michael in, he lost his balance, and they both tumbled to the floor. I hope you enjoyed it. I look forward to sharing a few more. Thanks.